I think the A's are a little bit. They're trying to deflect, obviously, by releasing these renderings, trying to get everyone fired up about a new stadium in Las Vegas. But they should probably be a bit more concerned about what's going on in their own backyard, including opening day, which we talked about the boycotts and protests scheduled for opening day, where fan groups are encouraging A's fans not to go to opening day, but instead attend a parking lot rally, protest and boycott right outside of the Coliseum, which we talked about a lot last week. But that's not the end of their protests. It's essentially going to be a summer long series of protests. Similarly, maybe they're all in the parking lot. Maybe they are boycotting every game. We've seen last year, we saw the reverse boycott where actually they encouraged people to actually go to an A's game, which they set records for last season's attendance with planned moments of silence at odd parts of the game, followed by "Sell the team" chants, well choreographed. It was very well done. I applaud A's fan groups for doing all this, but I think that's the tip of the iceberg. The vitriol that this has turned up, and I wouldn't blame them if my team was leaving. I would be joining all the same movements. So it's actually being summed up as the summer of sell. And that is not just a cool hashtag on social media. That's actually going to be a documentary film produced this summer. They have a couple volunteer filmmakers are encouraging A's fans to send in their own footage of their protests and everything else, and they're going to compile this all into a documentary. I submitted a couple of our videos from our YouTube page to them, and they thanked us for that. So maybe we'll be in this documentary somehow. I
Oh,
doubt
that would be wonderful.
it. They're encouraging fans across the nation to contribute. So I thought we'd be good for that, from contributing from Chicago and Detroit.
When Oakland comes into town, should we stage a Chicago boycott
I
of
think we could. I think
Oakland?
maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should talk about that. Well, maybe we could plan. I haven't seen when they'll be in on the south side there, but that might be a good time for me to come into town
Yeah.
if they play on a weekend.
Well, I mean, no one will want to go to the Sox game anyway to see the Sox, so it'll be easy for
Yeah,
me to boycott it.
it won't be hard to get tickets. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. About 2 weeks ago, fans organized their own fan fest. They called it Fans Fest because they made it all. Of course, the A's and most teams canceled their fan fests during the pandemic, but they never returned. They never brought back the fan fest for obvious reasons. Similar to the White Sox, at least you guys have
Exactly.
announced that Sox Fest will return in 2025. But it was an impressive. I saw some of the scenes from Fans Fest in Oakland, just fan organized, and there are reports of 20,000 plus people showing up to that. So it shows you there is a will for baseball to be in Oakland. The fans are there, and they're angry about losing their team, and I cannot blame them. I mentioned I did actually attend one of the A's fan fests back in would have been 2005, where they actually hold the event in the stadium, which was kind of cool because you got to do a tour of the locker room and all throughout the stadium. By the way, the locker room in Moneyball,
Yeah.
that's the real locker room.
Oh,
Like
okay.
when he's berating the players for dancing around and playing music after a loss. That's the real locker room. That's what at least or maybe they recreated it. I can't believe they couldn't just film in there, but that's what it looked like. So I thought that was kind of cool. The coolest thing I've seen Ace fans do for this whole thing, the most subversive thing, is they started a website. It's a protest website, but the name of the website is davekaval.com. And A's fans know exactly who this is. You might not be familiar, but David Kaval is the president of the A's. And they literally just, I call him the chief minister of propaganda for the A's because he's on Twitter just spewing propaganda and blocking the abuse. Anyone that like mildly abuses him on Twitter just gets blocked. So A's fans are posting their block status from Dave Caval's Twitter feed as a badge of honor. I've actually tagged him and called him the minister of propaganda, but he has not banned us yet. So we'll see. We'll see when that happens. I'll be sure to post that. But I just love the idea that these protesters took his name and are using it as the domain name for this protest site. Also, David Kaval. It sounds so much like cabal, which is like an evil conspiracy, like
Right.
sinister group of people getting together. I just thought that he sounds like a bad dude, and he's certainly acting like a bad dude. The website puts together a really cool theory that I hadn't really considered because I think in the last episode we were talking about the opening day boycott, and I love it. I want to support it as much as I can from 2,000 miles away. But what does it really mean? Like, is it going to change anything? Does it like it would be an embarrassing scene if there's hardly anyone in the stadium, yet there's tens of thousands of people protesting outside on opening day, the most hallowed day of the baseball season.
Right.
It's more symbolic than anything. But what does it really change if the real power brokers have their money and they do what the fuck they want with it? But this DaveCaval.com has an interesting theory and has an interesting method to actually maybe create some change. I'll read directly from it. John Fisher is in dire financial straits, but he is looking to make a big payday by selling his half of the Coliseum for $150 million. I did not know he actually owned a piece of the Coliseum.
Hmm.
And he's looking for $210 million more in TV money by playing in the Coliseum from 2025 through 2027. That's the part we talked about a couple episodes ago where the only way that the A's contract with NBC Sports California will be honored is if they play in the Bay Area.
Right.
It's a $67 million per year deal. So if they were talking about moving to Las Vegas prematurely, playing in their AAA stadium, they wouldn't get that TV money. Even if they play in Sacramento, which we talked about, which was a viable option at one point, they would not get that $67 million. So that's where you and I were talking about them potentially playing in Oracle Park or whatever it's called now, the Giants, where the Giants play, because they would obviously still be in the Bay Area. But I'm not really sure why the Giants would want to help them out, do them a solid necessarily. That just is fraught with complications. But that's what they're getting at. They're getting at his money. He wants to continue to play in 25 through 27. That'd be with a lease extension of the current Coliseum lease that ends after this season. They continue. If Alameda County and the city of Oakland stop him from profiting off the Coliseum, he may not have enough money to build his stadium in Las Vegas and will be forced to sell. That's where this protest movement can actually do something. If they can put enough pressure on city and county officials, they could actually block the sale of the Coliseum, block his profits from that, and fuck up his financing. So that's where shit gets real. Because when you fuck with people's money, that's when you get their attention. So if you go to davecaval.com, you can sign up. You can send a petition to the Oakland City Council. I think you just sign your name to it and hit send, and it does it. I don't know what that does. I guess it just lets your congressman, your local councilman know you're out there. Obviously, I'm not a resident, so I don't think I should necessarily get involved in that. But maybe you can. Maybe we should just flood the ballot box. But I just thought that was a really interesting, kind of devious, really subversive, cool way to actually maybe make a real difference.
Yeah. The
Bravo, A's fans.
Yeah, A's fans, they have a true desire to fix this situation
Well,
and
just
and make
think. I mean,
their
this
and make their
is
voice truly be heard. Because I deal with this very similar fan base, but they take
yeah
no action. They buy
with the
the
White
the
Sox.
the guys on White Sox Twitter who bitch and bitch. They buy season tickets still. Like
Yeah,
you what are you doing? Let your voice be heard.
yeah.
Have 2,000 people start showing up to the ball games. We'll see what something's going to happen then. you
Well,
know
you started hearing "sell the team" chants at the end of last year, and that might continue throughout this season. It's hard to say. At least I think. I mean, the public pressure certainly helped lead to the firing of your president and general managers. That's that maybe there is some effect, but you've come in the last few months, at least, talking about Jerry Reinsdorf potentially selling the team. that they might move to Nashville, or him threatening, new owners might move the team. Have to you have had at least to put yourself in the same mind space that Oakland A's fans are feeling, that where the reality is so close that they could lose their team. Where I think White Sox fans might be able to relate a little bit more than others. So
Yeah.
got to be careful out there. Don't let your owners run over you.
Word Hole Media.